speaker is from a Bitcoin miner. Let's get him on the show. There he is, Ben Gagnon. He's the Chief Mining Officer at Bitfarms. Ben, how are we doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. We've got you. Do we have your slides? Not
Yep,
yet.
let me put that on the screen.
Excellent. Firat King in the chat. We are back to our regularly scheduled programming on Friday. These are virtual conferences we do every so often, and this is actually our last one of the year. So don't worry, Firat King. Regular programming on Friday. For the moment, Ben, the floor is yours. Tell us about Bitfarms.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, everybody, welcome to this Bitfarms corporate presentation at the Benzinga Small Cap Conference. As you know, I'm Ben Gagnon. I'm the Bitfarms Chief Mining Officer. Bitfarms is one of the largest publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies in the world. We have over 1% of the Bitcoin network, and we're traded on both the NASDAQ and the Toronto Stock Exchange. We've been mining for 4 years, and I personally have been mining since 2015 because we live in an uncertain and volatile period in human history, defined by both boundless fear and optimism and powered by outdated systems and high-speed technologies. The technological progress currently taking place is so great and so rapid and so disruptive that the progress we have seen and will see in our lifetimes vastly exceeds the progress that any other lifetime before us has ever seen. From education, communication, commerce, and culture, this progress touches nearly every aspect of our lives. And as a result, we now live in a world of abundance with the most food, doctors, scientists, entrepreneurs, developers, trade, space programs, computational wealth, and the highest quality of life the world has ever recorded. But despite all that, it does often seem that things are becoming increasingly difficult, confusing, and expensive. That all this technology that was supposed to make our lives easier, cheaper, and more free has done the opposite and made our lives harder, costlier, and less free. Because of this, it is easy to become disillusioned, to feel confused, and to be lost. But we have here today in this very room and in every other internet connected room and device around the world an opportunity to fix what's gone wrong, to correct the course of human history, and create a completely new voluntary economic operating system powered by Bitcoin. With every year, as Bitcoin expands its reach across the world, it discovers new users and new markets and new use cases. Its infrastructure, made up of both advanced data centers like Bitfarms and tiny at-home data centers, expands into new areas, develops new sources of power, and acquires new owners. And while the appeal of crypto around the world can be attributed to a myriad of reasons and projects, the appeal of Bitcoin around the world is always the same: to escape the ticking time bomb of inflation, which started over 100 years ago and accelerated with the dissolution of the last remnants of the gold standard nearly 50 years ago. With the exception of Paul Volcker, who was the only central banker since that time to try and run the system with discipline, easy credit and cheap money have quickly become the norm around the world. And in 2008, staring at a financial crisis, the world had a distinct choice: to do the hard thing and enforce the practice of fiscal responsibility, or take the easy path and do a bailout. Economists, politicians, journalists, and bureaucrats the world over said we had no choice, that we had to implement QE. They said that this would be a special event, a one-off, a once-in-a-lifetime needed fix to the system, and the consequences for not acting would be unimaginable. But they were wrong. It wasn't a one-time thing. It's never a one-time thing. Before long, we had to implement QE2 and QE3 and QE4, and over the last 18 months, the world has collectively overseen the largest expansion of credit and monetary inflation ever recorded. Not limited to a few countries like hyperinflation after World War I, this expansion for the first time in history was truly global. No country and no currency has escaped this trend. And the effects we're just starting to see now: supply chain disruptions, low labor participation rates, inflation impacting every industry, every commodity, every pocketbook. There really is no way out of this. There's no way to unwind. There's no way to taper out. The only way out is through Bitcoin. And the mathematics to support Bitcoin as a long-term value investment are abundantly clear and simple. Bitcoin's current supply is approximately 18.8 million out of 21 million total, meaning 89% of all the Bitcoins that have ever been mined, that will ever be mined, already exist. And a further 10% will be mined over the next 14 years. And the remaining 1% over the next 100 years following that. Due to the way new Bitcoins are produced through mining, we know, and anyone in the world can verify exactly how many Bitcoins have, are, or will be in existence now or at any point in time, down to a 10-minute interval with a very small margin of error. No matter what you look at, commodities, currency, money, whatever, this level of precision and forecastability is unheard of and unrivaled. Nobody can tell you how much steel, gas, grain, or even USD exists right now with a high degree of precision, let alone how much will be produced over the next 1, 10, or 100 years. Bitcoin is entirely unique in this aspect. And Bitcoin accomplishes this through mining and the difficulty adjustment. By adjusting the difficulty and resetting the 10-minute average block times roughly every 2 weeks, the network ensures that no matter how much or how little investment is made or technological progress and development happens with Bitcoin mining equipment or infrastructure, the future supply of Bitcoin is entirely predictable at any point in the future. And while Bitcoin supply will increase at exponentially slower and more predictable rates, the supply of currencies around the world are increasing at infinitely faster and less predictable rates. This long-term trend is compounding, inescapable, and the driving force behind Bitcoin regularly establishing new all-time highs, and can easily be mathematically shown as infinite currencies over 21 million Bitcoin. Bitcoin is arguably the freest market in the world. It trades globally and incessantly by passionate and skilled traders who have made Bitcoin incredibly liquid. But as with any free market, it is subject to volatility, to swings, to corrections. And this makes Bitcoin famous as a volatile asset. But its true defining characteristic is its predictability in performance and supply. For the first time in history, Bitcoin provides anyone, anywhere in the world with the technological means to escape inflation. And with this last year, Bitcoin is now being embraced by both individuals and boardrooms around the world as the premier hedge against inflation. Because the question is no longer whether or not Bitcoin is necessary in a portfolio, but when and how to get exposure to it. And these are tricky questions. What kind of exposure should you have? Which platforms should you use? What tools do you use to keep things safe? Whom do you trust? And most importantly, at what price and time do you enter? For many people, the simplest answer is just to buy and hodl for the long term. And while this is easy and effective, it's far from optimal. Mistiming these trades can easily lead to long-term negative portfolio performance and less Bitcoin in your wallet at the end. While the long-term trend of Bitcoin is abundantly clear and predictable, the short-term volatility does scare and prohibit many new market participants. But buying Bitcoin is only one strategy, and there exists another way, a better way. Like any other technology play today, whether it be Google, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, data centers are what drives and enables the technology. Data centers are the largely invisible and irreplaceable foundation of the world, and as such are the most foundational investment anyone can make into a technology. Amazon's AWS is a great example of how fast the data center industry is growing, how valuable computation markets are, and how insatiable their demand is for compute. Bitcoin mining is the same thing for Bitcoin. Bitcoin companies and projects may come and go, but mining itself is irreplaceable. It is the foundational layer that enables all of this. And as Bitcoin grows, so does the security of the network and the companies that mine it. In September to October, we had a 12.5% growth rate, comparable what Amazon's growth rate was in their data center business. And despite the halvings that take place every 4 years, which cut the block reward of new Bitcoins in half, and the exponential increase in network hash rate, the Bitcoin mining industry continues to grow and shows zero signs of stopping. Starting from really humble beginnings of just a few computers, the incentive to secure the network has created an entirely new industry for compute, which has grown at a tremendous pace and completely organically. Despite the block reward being cut about 87.5% since Bitcoin launched, and an exponential growth in hash rate, the current value of the Bitcoin mining industry is at its highest point ever, currently worth over $21 billion and generating approximately $60 million US worth of new Bitcoins through mining every single day for a cost well below market value. Whether it's a 5-year-old Bitmain S9 or the most efficient miner you can buy and operate today, a Bitmain S19j Pro, Bitcoin miners are mining and acquiring Bitcoin with incredible margins well below market value. With fixed electricity pricing, rents, and labor, our cost at Bitfarms to operate a Bitcoin miner is constant. It is only the revenue, measured in BTC or USD, that changes over time. And these fixed operating costs means that as the price of Bitcoin grows, so does our upside in margins. When Bitcoin is in a bull market, the price of Bitcoin can and historically does grow significantly faster than new miners can be manufactured and deployed. This gap means that a properly managed mining company can function as a leverage play to Bitcoin. Now, typically, leverage comes with increased risk, but with such low costs to produce a Bitcoin relative to market prices and established Bitcoin support levels, Bitfarms is already effectively hedged against downside. But mining now is all about scale. While a single miner could have mined hundreds of Bitcoins a day when Bitcoin started, it now takes thousands of miners to mine a single Bitcoin in a day. And the Bitcoin mining economy of scale curve is inverted and looks a bit like a Nike swoosh. It makes some sense at small scale, is difficult in the middle, and makes a lot of sense at industrial scale. Economies is running one of these machines is relatively simple and easy. It doesn't take a lot of work, engineering or outside contractors. A lot of people can do this in their existing homes or businesses. But scaling up to operating hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of these machines is a very different game. Between sourcing low-cost industrial scale power, designing and constructing highly specialized data centers and HVAC systems, training and retaining the specialized labor that is needed to operate, maintain, and repair this equipment quickly to ensure consistent revenues and strong profitability, and the capital markets, market understanding, and strategies it takes to develop these farms, purchase large quantities of miners, and scaling at the right times, it is incredibly difficult to compete with the biggest players in the industry. And then again, why would you even want to? You don't make your own toothpaste, cars, computers, or iPhones. Large industrial corporations do that because they do so cheaper, faster, better, and easier than you can yourself. And the industry is evolving every year. Public miners like Bitfarms give you the exact same exposure to the fast-growing industry with all of the advantages of scale, none of the overhead or hassles, and complete liquidity through public markets. This is where Bitfarms has the advantage. Founded in 2017, Bitfarms is by far the largest Bitcoin miner in one of the most abundant and cost-effective hydroelectric regions of the world, Quebec, Canada. There exists enough excess hydropower in Canada to run the entire Bitcoin network, giving us a huge opportunity and advantage to scale operations with cost-effective, clean hydropower and multiple decentralized facilities. But we are not stopping there. We are becoming a global player, expanding into Paraguay and Argentina at a rapid pace while exploring new opportunities in the US and abroad. Bitfarms has over 4 years of experience building, designing, and operating facilities. We have our own electrical engineering subsidiary, a full operations team, in-house developers, finance and accounting teams, and an in-house repair team. We are consistently improving upon our facility designs and efficiency over multiple years of operations and generations of Bitcoin miners. And Bitfarms has developed one of the most skilled and experienced teams in the world. Our operations team is able to install over 2,000 miners in under 24 hours. And with our proprietary management software, maintain some of the highest uptimes in the industry. Our executive team is filled with experts in Bitcoin mining, finance, electrical engineering, public markets, and project management that cumulatively have decades of experience in each category. And Bitfarms has achieved industrial scale. We have powered approximately 1% of the Bitcoin network for several years. We are nearly doubling the amount of our farms, tripling our installed electrical capacity, and quadrupling our hash rate between now and the end of 2022. This is expected to vastly outpace network growth, gaining market share and generating more Bitcoins every day as a result. Bitfarms has integrity. We are currently the only publicly traded Bitcoin miner audited by a Big Four firm, and we have done so since 2018. We did not enter the market through an RTO or SPAC. We walked in the front door with both the Ontario Securities Commission and the SEC. We didn't do this because it was easier. It was significantly harder. We did it because we knew it was necessary to provide confidence in our numbers and operations to investors when they were looking to invest in this new and emerging tech industry. Bitfarms has community. We currently have approximately 70% retail investors, many of whom are long-term holders around the world and are either the largest or one of the largest allocations of numerous Bitcoin mining ETFs. They have all picked Bitfarms as their favorite horse because they understand the unique value we have as a company and whom actively cheer and promote our company and brand in person and online to other investors. Bitfarms has conviction. We did not pivot from another business to mining because it was hot or topical. We have always been miners, and we will always be miners because we understand and believe in the positive technological transformation that Bitcoin is to the world. Many members on our executive and operations team have been mining Bitcoin for years, experiencing the joys of bull markets and surviving halvings and bear markets. Bitfarms has a vision. We are here for the long term, and we are building the infrastructure that will power the future Bitcoin economy with vertically integrated operations, decentralized global facilities, clean and cost-effective power sources, strong governance, audited and verifiable numbers, and huge amounts of Bitcoin being mined and added to Treasury every day with an 8 exahash end of 2022 target. We will be one of the largest and most trusted Bitcoin miners in the world by the end of next year. And we want all of you to be a part of that. In the words of the late, great JFK. But some may say, why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why fly across the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one that we are unwilling to postpone, and one that we intend to win. We are Bitfarms. Come join us on NASDAQ, and let's go moon.
Damn. And they on a high note there, Ben. Nice job. A few questions here before we wrap up from our chat. One of them was, let me pull it up here. I guess we'll just start with this. What is the hash rate? What is your hash rate?
What is our hash rate? Our hash rate is a little over 2 exahash right now, constantly growing. So we've got 48,000 miners scheduled for next year. So that's 400 petahash a month that will be growing. And we're always looking for new purchases and new expansion opportunities.
Are you just doing Bitcoin right now?
We are a pure Bitcoin miner.
Okay.
We have mined other coins in the past, but they don't give the same sort of reliability and predictability that investments in Bitcoin mining hardware does. So we focus only on Bitcoin.
Got it. Does Bitfarms plan to provide a hosting and infrastructure for fully managed blockchain hosting solutions similar to what Core Scientific is doing?
We actually don't have any other business lines or products or services that we offer to any customers. Okay. We're a completely self-operated miner, and the reason for that is the mining profitability is incredibly high. If we operated a hosting business and we feeded that profitability to other people and other individuals, we simply would have lower margins and less profitability. So we develop and maintain all of our power resources, and we mine them completely for ourselves to get the highest profitability and deliver that for our investors.
Paul in the chat requested me to please, he did it nicely, he said please ask Ben about the status of the at-the-market raises.
So we put out an announcement on our Q3 on the at-the-market. I unfortunately can't make any other comments beyond what's already been publicly disclosed on that. It's just, I can't make a comment on anything.
See, Paul, you ask, I ask, and Ben answers as best he's legally allowed to, which is all we can really say. So, yes. Ben Gagnon is the Chief Mining Officer of Bitfarms. Let me just run through and make sure I didn't miss any questions, because I know there are a few. Few people asking how often, how long it takes to mine a Bitcoin for you.
So we're mining 11 to 12 Bitcoins a day right now. Okay. So approximately 2 hours.
There we go. Okay, sweet, awesome. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today on the Benzinga Small Cap Conference.
Thank you, Spencer.